It's coffee time. I made a pledge to use black cat themed mugs only today. Unfortunately, I have no glasses with black cats on them, but I really should. Maybe I'll just buy a set of black glasses. No, clear glasses and then draw black cats on them. I'm getting all my colors confused. So, I actually had kind of a big day. Like, a lot of things happened today. At least it feels like a lot of things happened. But we can start from the beginning with Sherlock, because as I told you, I was going to take him to the vet today, and I accidentally drove past the vet twice. It's like, all right, this is easy. I know right where this is. So I'm like driving, and then I start to see streets that I know are too far. I like look at my GPS. I'm like, curses! So I like turn around, go past it again. But this time I saw it. I saw where it was, and as I was going past it, so there was that slow motion no moment. And of course, the entire time Sherlock is doing the "I'm gonna die, someone please save me" meow, which he only reserves for the car. It's very strange. But finally got him to the vet. The vet is very nice. Again, like, I've never been here before because I recently moved, so this is my first time at this vet. And everybody was so nice, and the place was so nice. And found out, so here are the deets. So remember, I brought him in because I thought that his gums were pretty red. So I bring him in. The technician talks to him exactly how I do, and I was like, oh my gosh, we are kindred cat spirits. She had, like, dope tattoos everywhere, and she kept being like, oh, Sherlock, what are you doing? And I was like, oh my gosh, yay, yay, please be my technician always. But, you know, she asked me, like, all the questions about his diet, his behavior, etc., 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 asked me if there was anything else that I was concerned about, and I honestly hadn't thought about a couple of things, but I realized that they were important, like the fact that he doesn't cough up, oh God. He doesn't cough up hairballs, ever. He doesn't vomit, ever. But he does cough. Like, he'll have, like, little mini coughing fits. It's very strange. And so I told her, you know, well, sometimes he'll cough, but I've always assumed that that has to do with, you know, like him trying to cough up hairballs, but he just doesn't, and then he, like, swallows them back down, right? And she was like, okay, well, I'll write that down. And I was like, okay. And so, you know, we went through more and more of the process. And then she switched out, and I met his actual vet, and he was also very nice. And Sherlock was so good. They kept saying, it was so funny. Everybody kept saying, like, your cat is so well behaved. It's weird. Like, the things that normally freak cats out, he'll just sit there for, and it's very strange. And I'm like, yay, Sherlock is the best kitty in the world. But at the end of it all, we found out that all of his vitals are great. His heart is great. His lungs are great. All of that. They never mentioned his weight. They were like, he's a big cat. He's a big cat. You know, yes, he's a little bit overweight, but it's honestly not a big deal for how large of a cat he is just in general. I was like, okay. Said his eyes were fine, everything was looking good. They checked his teeth, said that his teeth are far too red for a cat of his age, so it's not just normal, like, it's not a reaction to tartar, which means that it's either an autoimmune problem, which means basically that his gums are overinflaming, they're overreacting to tartar, or he has some sort of an upper respiratory problem, or some sort of, like, an infection that is affecting the way that his body, the way his immune system works, basically. So they're testing for all of the different, like, respiratory problems and all of that. So we'll see if it's anything like that. I will get those results back in, like, 2 days, they said. But the big thing that I thought was fascinating, I had no idea that cats could have asthma. And he kept asking me all these questions, and then he said, I'm going to show you a YouTube video of a cat with asthma, and I want you to tell me if that's what Sherlock does. And I was like, okay. Which was interesting. I never before in my life has a regular doctor, a vet, anybody ever said, I want you to watch this video on YouTube of a person doing this or of an animal doing this, and I want you to tell me if it looks the same, right? So I thought that was awesome. I was like, oh, that makes it so easy. So I like brought in an iPad and they showed me a video of a bunch of cats with asthma, basically, and explaining like, you know, the cat will typically will scrunch down and their neck will elongate and they'll cough a lot and then they'll swallow at the end. And I was like, this is bizarre. This is exactly what Sherlock does. Like, Sherlock always does this. And she said, okay, like how, at this point the technician was in. She's like, how often would you say that he does this? And I said, well, I mean, I go to work, but I'm home most of the time, and I would say I see him do it like up to twice a week. Not very often at all. She said, okay, well, that's good. That means that you might be able to prevent, you know, those attacks, because we now know he does absolutely have asthma. It's not super bad if it's not happening, you know, very frequently, but you can get like a humidifier or an air purifier of some sort will probably help. He said to look into changing the litter, you know, normal things. So she said, you know, there are things that you can do before you have to have one of those adorable kitty inhalers, which I didn't even know existed until today. I was like, oh my gosh, they're kitty inhalers? And she was like, yeah, they're like kind of adorable. I was like, oh my gosh. I don't want him to have an inhaler, but I was like, oh gosh, Sherlock, if you have a little kitty inhaler for the good of your little cat body, I won't complain at all. But yeah, so that's basically like where we left it with him. He is very healthy. He's very, very healthy. He's very well behaved, apparently. He has asthma, but it's minor. And he might have an autoimmune problem, which sucks. But, yeah, but he's precious. And I'm so glad that I was finally able to take him in and, like, make sure that overall he was doing okay. Because, you know, it's hard to tell. Like, he's 3 now, almost 3 years old. So, you know, it's strange going from getting him almost 2 years ago and seeing him with so much energy, and now, you know, he's older. He's just older, and he doesn't want to do as much, and he's a lot chiller, and he's very loving and affectionate like he's always been, and I'm just glad to know that he's healthy. Like, I'm just so relieved, just so happy. Yeah, so that was my morning. I know that I've talked about this for like 7 minutes or whatever so far, but that was only the beginning of my day. I wound up going to a park. I haven't been to a park in forever. There's a park, like a decent ways away that I have wanted to go to, and so I finally went. I like made a sandwich. I went to this park, and there were all these like little old men in the park that were playing games and talking to each other, and it was adorable. Can I just say that when kids are trying to like logic with each other, it's probably my favorite thing in the world, because there's an age where you're kind of learning what makes sense and what's fair, right? So there was one kid who was obviously like barely older than the other two. There were 3 kids total. And 2 of them wanted turns on the scooter. This was all happening at the park. 2 of them wanted turns. And the older one was like, okay, you go for 1 circle, and then he goes for 1 circle, and then you go for 1 circle. And he was like, okay, so circle, 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 circle. And he was like, yeah, just, you know, just you circle, then he circles, then you circle. Like, just I kept hearing little kids saying circle over and over and over again, so I paid more attention. And so one kid did a circle, and then the other kid did like a slightly wider circle, and he was like, hey, he's not doing the same circle. He was like, well, you can do whatever circle you want. And then one of the kids was like, but circles are different. Like, it got so convoluted. Like, these kids were like, how do we do this, you know? It was amazing. It was so, so, so cute, and I loved it. And then, guys, I got into a deep pit. I got into a deep, deep hole of Monster Hunter. I started playing Monster Hunter, and I just played it forever. I played it for, like, hours. I don't even know. And it's funny because at first I was like, I don't know. I don't know whether or not I can, like, really get into this game. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, when this video is done, I'm going to go play more Monster Hunter. Like, I just love it. Like, it's really, really, really fun. So, I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to just be the very best. Butt bag. She's going to be the best, like no one ever was. But, I also started playing Pokemon. Gosh, guys, everything has just been going downhill in the best way. But the sad thing about today was that Nika and She-Geek and I were all going to play Damned. We've been talking about it for like a couple of weeks now or something, and we were like, oh, should we live stream it? Should we just play it? And then all of us record it and put it up on our channels, like blah, 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 blah. So we're like talking about this, and we're getting it all set up, and then Nika opens it and goes, guys, the servers are down for maintenance. And we were like, no, because we've been trying to get together to do this for so long. So I think we're going to be able to do it next weekend and possibly live stream it then. But gosh, it was just, we were like, no, come on. And when you go to the website, it doesn't say anywhere, like, servers for maintenance for this long, or, hey, on this day we're going to take servers down for maintenance. Like, nothing. Nothing at all. And Nika was like, what is happening? Do they not have a community manager? Like, she was just losing her mind. And so we all wound up kind of like, we just hung out for a little bit, trading cat videos while we were trying to see whether or not the servers would come back up, and they didn't. So we all went our separate ways. And I went back to playing Monster Hunter, and I beat my first, like, big monster. I was so jacked. In the, like, so there's, like, the level 1 stars, right? So I beat all of those. Dude, there's one of those where you're supposed to catch all of these gold fish, and it's like the simplest thing in the world, and it took me forever. It took me like the entire quest time, and I was like, what is happening? This is so dumb. Oh, actually, there was another one that took me the entire quest time, but I'm not going to tell you about it, because in case you want to play the game, it'll ruin it. But, yeah, so then I got to the 2-star level stuff, where you get to go to the plains, the, like, desert area, and I beat the big guy. It was fun. It was really fun. I was like, oh my gosh, I hit you with my paintball, and then I ran away, and then I buffed myself up, and then I chased you back down, and you got all your feathers, you're so cute. It was great. It was great. I really, really like that game. But, yeah. That's been my day. So again, like, for me, it feels like it was full, but explaining it to you, it doesn't seem like it was that full of actual things. But I'm so glad to know all of that about Sherlock. Like, that just eases my mind a lot. And we got antiseptic gel for his gums, too. So that'll help with the inflammation until we find out what's causing it. And I really hope, gosh, I don't know. I don't know whether to hope that it's an autoimmune thing or not. Like, I don't understand the severity of the other stuff, I guess. So I'm just waiting to see if anything comes back positive. They said, unfortunately, if it's an autoimmune problem, eventually his teeth will probably have to come out, because it's not something that they can really treat very well. The best way to treat it is to extract the teeth once the cat gets older, and it's just painful, and they're, just sad all the time, right? So I'm like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want Sherlock to live without teeth, but obviously if he's in constant pain and having his teeth out would help, then obviously I would do it. I'm just like, oh, thinking of Sherlock, just like old Sherlock with no teeth. I'm like, oh. So I don't know what to hope for, but I'm just kind of gonna wait and see what the results are. So wish us luck, and we'll find out what's wrong with Sherlock. But I hope that you guys had a great day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye. Mwah!